10 Greatest Hip-Hop Songs of All Time. 10 Wu-Tang Clan, C.R.E.A.M. 1993. Hip-hop was born in New York, but it had taken a hit in the years leading up to 1993. Dr. Dre's Chronic made the West Coast the center of rap's mainstream. New York rappers were playing catch-up. Enter the Wu-Tang Clan. The singles Protect Ya Neck and Method Man put the group on the map. But C.R.E.A.M. was an entirely different beast. RZA's heavy bass and haunting piano melody paved the way for iconic verses from Raekwon and Inspector Dex. But the icing on the cake was Method Man's hook, a chorus permanently stamped in your head. Wu-Tang Clan had introduced the world to hardcore hip-hop that managed to have just enough pop appeal for the masses. 9 Eric B. and Rakim, Paid in Full, 7 Minutes of Madness, the Cold Cut Remix, 1987. When hip-hop began, it borrowed a lot from dance music. Songs like Rapper's Delight and were structured like disco songs. What's interesting about Eric B. and Rakim's Paid in Full is that it suddenly was a song being sampled for dance music. It makes sense. The beat glides and Rakim delivers a seismic lyrical performance that makes for some great one-liners to be sampled. English electronic duo Cold Cut would create a remix of the song that would turn heads in Europe, making rap a force for the first time overseas. 8 Mobb Deep, Shook Ones, PT2, 1995. There's something immediately terrifying about Shook Ones, PT2. That slow drum beat and those sirens seemingly ripped out of a horror film. 4 Shook Ones, PT2, Mobb Deep's Havoc combined 3 equally mercurial jazz samples. Herbie Hancock's Jessica, Daley Wilson Big Band's Dirty Feet and Quincy Jones' Kitty with the Bent Frame. The songs are so obscure, at least to hip-hop fans, their presence in the track remained somewhat of a mystery for a decade and a half. That makes sense. After all, what makes Shook Ones, PT2 so timeless is that it's also somewhat generic. It's the sound of a looming threat that could exist in any era. And Mobb Deep's Prodigy delivers on the threat with his astonishing first verse, rock you in your face, stab your brain with your nose bone. It's the kind of thing that should get you locked up for life. But who's going to confront this guy? After all, as Prodigy then warns, now, take these words home and think it through / or the next rhyme I write might be about you. 7. Outcast, B.O.B. 2000. When Andre 3000 made the now legendary statement, "The South got something to say" at the 1995 Source Awards, no one could predict what would come next. The South, more specifically Atlanta, would have a lot to say in hip-hop. But no one shaped more trends and delivered more amazing music than Outkast. The peak is the whirlwind of a song that is B.O.B. It's a politically charged anthem that, sadly, predicted America's future, while sonically merging elements of rap, drum and bass, rock, and more. Everything B.O.B. has to offer is quite overwhelming. The beat is impossible to rhyme over unless you're a rap group consisting of 2 of the greatest MCs. In the end, B.O.B. opened doors for the alternative rap movement of the 21st century. But unlike just about every great song in hip-hop history, no one ever attempted to copy it. How could they? 6 NWA, Straight Outta Compton, 1989. NWA might have felt the need to open its iconic song with a proclamation, "You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge," but it wasn't necessary. Straight Outta Compton is a song that skyrockets off Ice Cube's opening lyrical salvo, "Straight Outta Compton, Crazy Mother ER named Ice Cube / from the gang called NAZ with attitudes when I'm called off, I got a sawed off / squeeze the trigger, and bodies are hauled off." There's a shock value, of course. But there's an artistry to it as well thanks to the swirling production. Straight Outta Compton is all about the urgency of its message and the appeal of its sound. NWA didn't invent gangsta rap, but the group brought it to white America in a way it could no longer be ignored. 5 Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, The Message, 1982. From an influence standpoint, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five's The Message can't be understated. Before it, hip-hop almost felt like an extension of disco in its unwavering commitment to party jams. The Message changed everything by serving as a social commentary in the vein of America's greatest black poets. But it's more than that. Nearly 40 years after its release, The Message shouldn't still sound this good. The beat still sounds as alluring as it ever did, which is why it's been sampled time and time again. The Message was hip-hop's very first work of art. And like a fine painting, its value only goes up with age. 4. Kendrick Lamar, Alright. 2015, songs like Kendrick Lamar's Alright don't come around all that often anymore. Rarely does a politically charged song of this uncompromising become such a universal anthem. The world hasn't seen one since Fight the Power. Timing is everything, of course. The message in Alright would only be magnified by the police brutality of the last decade. And yet, while Alright focuses on the tragic issues affecting the black community and the frustration that follows, there's a sense of comfort that comes with Lamar's instant classic. The phrase "we gon' be alright" is something to go back to time and time again. After all the pain and heartache, hope remains, God willing. 3. The Notorious B.I.G., Juicy, 1994. Juicy is hip-hop's ultimate rags to riches story. And what made it resonate so much over the years is that going from rags to riches is what hip-hop became about in its golden era of the 1990s. The Notorious B.I.G. embodied that. There was a vulnerability to his music, a self-awareness that stayed true to the phrase "ashy to classy." Sean Puffy Combs deserves credit for recognizing it and pushing Biggie to rap over a sample of Dum's Juicy Fruit sample, even though it didn't appeal to his hardcore tendencies. But that soulful feel, combined with B.I.G's relatable rhymes and pop culture references, was everything. 2. Dr. Dre feat. Snoop Dogg, Nothing But a G-Thang, 1992. Dr. Dre had toyed with elements of the G-Funk sound on NWA's second album. Likewise, other hip-hop acts, EPMD and Public Enemy, had utilized funk samples in their music. But up until The Chronic, hip-hop was all about the heavy rhythm and a hard beat. Then Dre smoothed everything out on Nothing But a G-Thang. Dre made hip-hop melodic, tailoring it to the mainstream in a way that no one had before. It's truly a monumental track both in its groundbreaking production, which reshaped rap for the 1990s, and the introduction of hip-hop's next big star in Snoop Dogg. In the 21-year-old, Dre had the star that could drive his new vehicle, and it was one heck of a ride. 1. NAS, New York State of Mind, 1994. New York State of Mind wasn't much of a cultural event in 1994. The track wasn't even a single from NAS' debut album. In retrospect, it's all here. The greatest producer and lyricist in rap history joining forces on, arguably, the greatest hip-hop album of all time. The beat alone is so amazing it might seem daunting for your average MC, but NAS rises to the occasion, weaving together two of the greatest verses in rap history. The complexities of his rhymes, a mix of Cool G Rap's mafioso rap, LL Cool J's swagger and Chuck D's political tones, are next level. New York State of Mind is hip-hop in every aspect at its absolute peak. You can't ask for